days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid.
Hey everybody, J Hat Drummer 1976 here. And today I thought, being it's Wednesday and it snowed again. I think so. Yeah, it's kind of stopped a little bit. But today, I thought I'd take you back in the day, because that's what I said I was going to do. And so back in the day, we're going to talk some video games, okay? Since I haven't done some video games in a long time, so yeah, man. Thought I'd let you guys know about some of the platform video games I had. Won't take too long on this one, but yeah, man. Let's start off at the beginning. Was the Atari 2600, and the Atari 2600 back in the day was the first of its kind because of a little arcade game called Pong. And Pong was in all the bars and stuff, and it made money. So they figure, you know what? This thing is so cool, we need to make it into a game where you can play at home. So, and a lot of people at that time thought, well, yeah, that's cool, but, you know, how much is it going to go for? So they actually made a Pong video game for your home, and, it was one game of Pong, and that was it. So then, of course, later on, the Atari 2600 comes out, and that's the first one I got. Actually, I should say me and my brothers. But that was the first one that we got, and that was awesome. I mean, but one game I really did not like, there's actually a few, but the one I despised the most was Atari's version of Pac-Man. I mean, you want to talk about just disgusting. It was just bad. Because when you think of Pac-Man, you think of the arcade. You think of the arcade version of it. So Atari says, yeah, we're going to come out with Pac-Man. And when you buy this, it'll come with it. And you're like going, whoa. But then you took it home, you played it, and it was just terrible. I mean, it was sad. Really, really sad. But there were other games out there. Space Invaders, Super Breakout, Donkey Kong Jr. And then you had the games that you had the roller. Remember that? How about Combat? I bet y'all remember Combat, don't you? With the planes and the tanks and the just blowing stuff up, man. I mean, you just shoot at your opponent basically. My favorite one was the helicopter versus the airplane. That was my favorite because you're the big helicopter. You figure the helicopter, you're huge, but if you're the helicopter, it's easier for you to get shot. So I always pick the little airplane. Yeah, man, that game and a whole bunch of others. They came out for that, and probably one of my favorite. Yeah, it's not one of my. I'd say maybe my top three. Because it was a game I bought when I was about 8 years old. And my mom, for my birthday. And she says, you get one game. One game. And I said, okay. And so we were at Kmart. And Kmart at that time had a huge selection of our Atari games. All the Activision games and all that. And so I'm just going down this one aisle and all these video games, and I notice two games that come out of, I'm looking at, and one of them was Burger Time. And I looked on the back of the box, and I was like, looks cool. I've seen it in the arcades. But basically all it is a chef making burgers and trying to stay away from the hot dog and the egg and the pickles, and it's like, this game's going to end up giving me nightmares if I get it. I'm being chased by a hot dog. Ah! So the other game, which was also an arcade game, was Kangaroo. Okay. Now, all of you out there, now if you don't like this game, oh, fine. But I was 8. Okay? So cut me some slack, okay? I was 8 and got the game. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go with this game. For one simple reason why. Because the Kangaroo had boxing gloves on. I'm like, what are you going to do with boxing gloves? Like, okay. Well, this was also an arcade classic. Basically, the game is this. You're in the jungle. You're going up these ladders, or these ledges. You can jump. You can duck. You can punch with the boxing glove. Boom. And you know, there's the animals you beat up, you know, you punch just to get to the level. And at the top of the level is your kid. And basically, that's all it is. You just save your kid. Basically, I mean, people say, well, it kind of follows along the line of Donkey Kong. Well, it does, but, you know, instead of, like, you're jumping barrels, you're just climbing ladders and trying to stay away from the other animals. And, yeah, so that game was awesome. So we go from that, and again, all the other games. And I had that, me and my brothers, we had that Atari for, like, I guess 3 years. From 85 to 88. Yeah. And of course, the next game we got, or next platform we got, was a Nintendo. 1989, we got a Nintendo. And, you know, to this day, me and my brothers, during Christmas, we actually talked about, you know, what it was like to have a Nintendo. Because we played so many games on that. We rented games. We actually got games for Christmas. And yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was really cool because, one, we got to play a lot of games and beat a lot of games. Nintendo, there was a beginning story, a middle story, and an ending story. And the first game we played was, of course, Super Mario Brothers. After that, beat it, and then played Mega Man 2. And me and my brother played that thing and finally beat it. We didn't know how to defeat Dr. Wily at the end. And we were looking through all the... you know, like you collect all the other bosses, you know, weapons. And when you know it, Bubble-Ed defeated Dr. Wily's, you know, alien whatever form or whatever. Bubble-Ed. And we defeated him. And, you know, we were, you know, like, yeah, we beat it finally. And then Mega Man 3 comes out. And it was even harder. And I don't think we beat that. I've beat it later on. I beat it, but then I started getting into all the sports games, and the coolest sports game ever for the Nintendo was Super Tecmo Bowl. Now I love this game, and when it came out for the Super NES later, I was like, Super Tecmo Bowl on the Super NES? Well, yeah, you'd figure, you know. But then they came out with others, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So then we go from that, and then we go to about the time I graduated high school, 95, and I got me a Super NES. Now, I got to tell you about the Super NES. Number one, this wasn't an ordinary Super NES. This was a This came with, I believe it was the Killer Instinct one. I'm pretty sure, because it was black. It came with the book, came with the game, and it came with the soundtrack to the game. And I'm like, a soundtrack, a book? Like, I think it was like $70 for this. Don't quote me on that price back in the day, but I'm pretty sure it was around that price range. Because you got to understand, this is 95. And 95, you know, PlayStation was getting ready to come out. You know, there was other Nintendo games out there. Nintendo 64 was out there. And, you know, Sega Genesis and the 32X and the, you know. So we go from that to, and again, I had all these games, man, for them. And again, I was a big sports fan. I was a big sports fan of, you know, baseball and football and hockey. I was really into hockey at that time. And that was when I started watching hockey. And, yeah, man, but really, some really cool stuff, man. And then I got a Genesis. I actually got the Sega Genesis 3. This was a little small compatible Sega Genesis, and it was really cool. Got it for Christmas one year, and I was just like, wow, Sega Genesis, like, sweet. Because I always wanted one, and I just could never afford them. But once I did, when I got it for Christmas, and I ended up getting a bunch of games for it. Sonic, and, you know, I had the 3 Sonic games, and I had, Sonic Spinball, and, you know, all the sports games again. But, yeah, man, the other game I ended up finding, I was at a pawn shop, and there was a bunch of Sega Genesis games on a shelf, and I was going through them, and I found a Castlevania game, and I was like, they got a Castlevania game for the Sega Genesis? And it was called Dracula X, I think it was called. Man, totally badass to have a Sega Genesis. So years go by, and it's about, I think it's like 2000, and I ended up getting my first PS1. PlayStation. Loved it. Saw it at a pawn shop for $50, man. Got the controller and everything, and ended up getting a couple of games for it. Because the owner was kind of, you know, he was cool. He's like, I'll give you a couple games for it since you're going to pay $50 for this. And I was like, all right. And then next thing you know, I started buying games. Started getting games. And of course, my favorite game for the PS1, Resident Evil. You know, just hearing the beginning of that, you know, Resident Evil with the eyeball. Remember that? Played it, loved it. I still to this day love that game. You know, and there's not a moment that goes by where I'm like, you know what? If I got a PS1, I'm definitely getting Resident Evil, because, you know, that game was just total badass. Going around and shooting zombies. Come on. So yeah, man. And of course I had some others. You know, I had a PS2, and not too long ago I had a 360 that ended up breaking on me, so I ended up throwing it away. And now I have a Nintendo Wii. And the reason why I have a Nintendo Wii is because it was cheap. And so yeah, there you go, man. Like I said, really not a whole lot of platform games I had, but I'll tell you what, got a lot of use out of them. Even though back in the day, you know, I must have spent a lot of summers inside the house, let me tell you. Just playing video games and loving them. To this day, still love playing video games. Still love all the new games that are coming out. All the, love hearing about the video games from all the video game junkies out there on YouTube, man. And just So I just thought I'd give you guys a little glimpse of what I had back in the day. I really didn't know what I was going to do for this back in the day segment because, you know, I don't know, just it's been one of those days, man. So anyway, with that said, J Hat Drummer 1976. You guys have an awesome day, all right? And then tomorrow, gonna be doing the open mic, and then Friday, cross my fingers that I have a good video to show you, because I had some views on the video. Wish I would have got some comments. I really do. I really wish I could get some comments from you guys, man. And I don't know if you guys don't want to subscribe, or if you guys are... I know, this is all it is. But you know what? I love talking about all this stuff. So again, my goal is to get 10, can I get that in? Yes. 10 subscribers by the end of this month. That is my goal. That is my ultimate goal. Please subscribe, post a comment. Until then, J Hat Drummer 1976, you guys have a good one.